Hello everyone, welcome to Coding with Ivan, and in today's video we'll make this music player application with Python. So inside the app, as you can see, we have a list of songs. If we click on any of them and click on this play button, it will start playing the song. Alright, and we can also pause and resume the song by clicking on this button. Pause it, and we can click again to play the song. We can go to next and previous song by clicking on these two buttons. Previous. Alright, and finally we can stop the song by clicking on this red stop button. Okay, so let's make this app. So at first, as you can see, I have opened my VS Code, and inside here I have opened a new folder called music player, and inside this folder I'll create a new Python file. Let's call this as main.py, and inside the file we need to import some packages. So for the UI I'll be using Kinter, so I'll import Kinter first. Import Kinter as tk, and then we need to import fnmatch, so I'll write import fnmatch, and then we'll import os, and lastly we need mixer from our pygame. So in order to install pygame in your PC, just click on this terminal, create a new terminal, and here write a command pip install pygame. So that will install pygame in your PC. So after it's done, we can close this, and here we'll import mixer from pygame. So I'll write from pygame import mixer. Alright, so now let's design our UI of the app. So I'll create an object called canvas, and I'll initialize it with Kinter. So tk.tk. Okay, and let's define the title of our canvas. So I'll write canvas.title, and let's call this as music player, and then let's set the geometry or the size of our canvas. So I'll write canvas.geometry, and here I'll pass this as, inside a quotation, 600 x 800. Alright, and then let's change the background color of our canvas. For this I'll write canvas.config, and here for the background color bg I'll pass the color black. Alright, and lastly I'll call canvas.mainLoop. Okay, and now let's try to run our application to see the UI. But before that, my autosave is turned off maybe, so I need to save this by clicking on the Ctrl S. Now let's run this again. Okay, so this is the UI of our application. Alright, so now let's start more coding here. So inside this application I'll be showing music files from a particular folder. For example, in this video I'll be showing music files from this folder. So for this I need to copy the path of this folder. So I'll just select this and copy the path, and I'll go back to my VS Code, and here I'll create a new variable called root path, and here I'll pass the path inside the quotation, and it's getting an error because after the C colon we need to pass an extra forward slash. Alright, so now we need to get only the mp3 files from this particular folder. So for this we have to match all the files inside this folder with a pattern. So let's create a pattern. So let pattern equals, inside the quotation I'll write star.mp3. so we'll match all the files inside this folder with this pattern. So we'll just look for all the files which ends with .mp3. okay, and now in order to show the files inside our UI, we'll use listbox of our Kinter. So let's create a list box here. So I'll write listbox equals tk.listbox, and I'll attach it to the canvas, and then let's add some custom colors. So for the foreground color I'll pass cyan, and for the background color, as our theme is black, so I'll pass black, and then for the width of our list box let's pass 100. Okay, and finally let's pack this list box. So listbox dot pack, and let's give this a padding to the x coordinate of, let's say, 15, and similarly I'll add a padding to the y coordinate of 15. Alright, so let's run our application once to see the changes. So here is our list box here. Now let's try to add some items inside our list box. So for this I'll go under here. Let's do it here. Okay, so I'll write listbox dot insert, and here the first parameter will be the index and the second parameter is the element that we want to add. So for example, let's add a new element on the 0th position. So I'll name this as coding. Now let's copy this 2 more times. Okay, and now let's pass in the first position, the second position, and let's write with Ivan. Okay, let's save this and run this again. So here is our elements inside our list. So now let's try to make the font a little bit bigger. So for this I'll go here, after the width equals 100, here I'll define a new font. So let's write font equals, inside a bracket I'll pass the name of the font first. So the font name at first, let's pass Poppins, and then the font size I'll pass 14. Okay, let's run this again. Ctrl S to save and run again. So here is our new list items with much bigger font. Okay, so now in the example I'll be using a custom font. I have downloaded the font from the internet. I'll give the download link of the font in the description also. From there you have to download this font and you can open it and click on this install button to install this font. So the font name is DS Digital. So I'll just change the font here inside the list box. Let's change this to DS dash digital. Let's save this and run again. So here is our new font. Okay, so now let's try to add songs from this folder inside our list box. So I'll just remove these 3 lines, and here I'll search for the mp3 files inside this root path. For this I'll write a for loop. So for root directories and files in our os.walk, and inside the parameter I'll pass the root path, so that will traverse inside this path for all the root folder directories and files. So inside the for loop we'll match all the files with this pattern. So for this I'll again write a for loop, and here I'll match the file names only. So file name in fnmatch dot filter, and inside the parameter of the filter I'll pass the files that we got and the pattern that we want to match. Alright, so now inside the for loop we got all the files that ends with .mp3 inside this file name. So we'll just add the file names inside our list box. So for this I'll write listbox dot insert, and here for the index let's pass end to add all the new files at the end of the list box, and then for the element I'll pass the file name. Alright, so let's save this and run again. So here as you can see we got all the mp3 files name inside our list box. So now let's work on the buttons and the labels. So for this I'll go down to this list box, and here I'll create a new label to show the selected song's name in it. So I'll take a new label. I'll call this label equals tk dot label. I'll attach it to the canvas, and then for the text of this label let's pass a empty string. For the background of this label I'll pass, let's say, black, and for the foreground or the text color of the font I'll pass, let's say, yellow. And similarly here I'll add the font, so I'll write font equals, inside the bracket the font name is ds dash digital, and the font size I'll pass is 18. Okay, now we can pack this label, so label dot pack, and let's give this a padding to the y coordinate of, let's say, 15. Okay, now we can add a few buttons to control our music file. So for this I'll add a few buttons here. Let's attach the prev button, or the previous button, equals tk dot button. I'll attach it to the canvas, and then I'll set the text of this button to prev. Then let's pack this button, so prev button dot pack, and let's give this a padding of 15 to the y coordinate. And now let's copy this button one more time, and I'll name this as, let's say, stop button, stop with small s. Okay, alright, and let's change the text also to stop. Okay, let's save this and run our application. So here, as you can see, our buttons are stored in vertically, but we want to show the buttons in horizontal order. So for this we have to create a new label where we'll store all the buttons and they will appear in horizontal order. So for this, let's close this and let's go after this label, and here we'll create the frame. So let's call this as top equals tk dot frame, and I'll attach it to the canvas. I'll set the background of this frame to color black. Then let's pack this, so let top dot pack, and let's give some padding to it, so padding to the x coordinate of 10, and then let's padding to the y coordinate of 5. Alright, and then we have to add a new element to it, or attribute to it, called anchor equals center, so that appears in the center of the screen. Alright, now let's attach the buttons to this top. So for this I have to go after this previous button dot pack, and here after the padding I'll write in underscore equals top, and then I'll add a new attribute called side equals, in a quotation, left, so that will store all the next or new buttons after this to left of each other. Okay, let's save this. Actually we have to copy this for the stop button also, so let's copy this and paste it here. Okay, let's save this again and run it. So here, as you can see, our buttons are in horizontal order. So now let's quickly add few more buttons. Okay, but before that let's try to add some images for our button, because it looks much boring with this old school, style. So let's add some images to our buttons. So for the images I have already prepared some image icons here. I'll give the download link of all these icons in the description. From there you can download this and use it on your own music player. So to use this we have to select all of the icons and copy them and go back to our VS Code here, and then we have to right click on our main.py and click on this reveal in file explorer, so that will open the directory where our main.py file is. So in the root directory we have to paste the icons, so I'll paste them and go back to our VS Code, and here as you can see we have all the icons or images here. So now let's attach the images to our buttons. So for the previous button, after this text equals previous, we will add our images. But before adding the images to our button, we have to initialize them first. So for this I'll go up here after this pattern. So here I'll define a new object called prev underscore img equals, and here I'll write tk dot photo image, and here we have to pass the photo file. So I'll write file equals, and inside the quotation I'll pass the file name. So for the previous image, the file name is prev_img.png. so I'll write prev_img.png. all right. So similarly I'll make 4 more for all the buttons here. So I'll just copy this 4 more times. Okay, and let's change the file names. So after the previous image, let's pass stop img, and the name is stop_img. so I'll write stop_img.png. now let's work with the play_img, change it to play_img, then pause_img, pause_img, then next_img, and next_img. okay, so our images for the buttons are initialized. Now we can attach the files to our image buttons or our buttons. So let's go down here to the buttons. So here after this text equals to previous, for the previous button I'll pass image equals prev_img that we defined above, and then for the background of our button I'll write bg equals black, and I'll also set the border width of our button, border width equals 0, and we'll add the comment for our button later. So now let's add these attributes for all the buttons here. Okay, we have only the stop button here. Okay, let's paste it here, and now let's create a few more buttons. So I'll just copy this, paste it 3 more times. Okay, so previous button, stop button, that will be play button. Okay, then we'll add the pause button, pause button dot pack, and finally the next button. all right, then let's change the texts for our buttons. So previous button prev and prev img, stop button stop, and the image will be stop_img. for the play button, the text will be play, and the image will be play_img. for the pause button, the text should be pause, and the image will be pause_img. for the next button, the text will be next, and the image will be next_img. okay, let's save it and run it again. So here as you can see we have all the buttons here. Okay, so now let's work on the comments for the buttons. So at first I'll work on the play button. So I'll go up here after this image declarations, and here I'll define a new method, define select, and here as soon as the user selects a song from the list and clicks on the play button, it should show the song name inside the label, this label, and should play the song. Okay, so for this at first let's try to show the song name inside the label. So for this I'll write label.config, and here for the text we have to pass the selected song. So to get the selected song we'll call listbox dot get, and inside the parameter, inside the quotation I'll pass anchor, so that will get the selected song. And then to play the song I'll call mixer dot music dot load, and here in the parameter of load we have to pass the path of our song. So as you can see we have stored the root path of our song inside this root path variable. So I'll call this root path, and after the path if we add an extra / and the song name, then it will make the proper path of our music file, that particular music file. So for this, let's add a new forward slash here, and to add a single forward slash we have to pass 2 forward slash here. Okay, and then we can add the song name which we got from this listbox.get anchor. So I'll just copy this and paste it here. Okay, let's save it. Okay, wait, we need to play the song also. So for this I'll write mixer.music.play. Alright, that's it. So let's save this, and we have to also attach this command to our play button. So I'll go to the play button here, and let's go here. After the border width, I'll pass the command equals select. Okay, now let's save this again and run again, and here we got the song list. Let's select one, let's select this one and click on the play button. So we got the song name inside our label, but we got an error also here. So it says that mixer not initialized. Okay, we forgot to initialize that, sorry for that. Let's do it quickly. So for this we have to go up here. After this pattern, let's initialize it here. So here I'll write mixer dot init. Okay, let's save this and run again. Now it should work. So let's select this song, click on play. Alright, so our song name is here and our song is also playing. Okay, let's close this, and now let's work on the other buttons. So now let's work on the stop button actually. So I'll define a new method here, define stop, and in the method body I'll write mixer.music.stop. okay, so that will stop our currently playing music, but after that we need to also clear the selected song. So for this I'll write listbox dot select clear, and here we'll pass the active, so that will deselect the active song after stopping it. So let's attach the method to our button also. So let's go after the stop button, and here after this border width I'll pass the command equals stop. Okay, so let's run our code again, Ctrl S to save it and run again, and here let's play this song again, and we can click on this stop button. Let's see. Okay, our song is stopped and the selection is gone also. Okay, so stop button is working. So let's work on the other buttons. So I'll create a new method after this define stop. Okay, define, let's create the play next method. Okay, so here in order to play the next song we have to get the index of our next song. So let's create a new object called next song, and here we'll at first get the currently selected song. So I'll write listbox dot current selection, or the card selection, so that will return us the currently selected song, and then we'll get the index of it. So I'll write again the next song, next underscore song equals next song, and I'll get the index and add 1 to it, so it gets the index of the next song, and then we'll get the song name also to show the song name inside our label. So let's quickly try to get the song name of the next song. So I'll write a new variable next song underscore name equals listbox dot get, and inside the parameter I'll pass the next song. Alright, so that will get the next song name here, and then let's try to show the next song name inside the label. So I'll write label.config, and inside the text I'll pass the next song name, this one. Okay, and now we need to play the next song also. So for this I'll just copy the code for our select method. I'll copy this and go down here, and I'll paste it here. So mixer.music.load root path, and here instead of this listbox.getAnchor we'll pass the next song name here. So I'll just cut this and write next song name, so that will play the next song now. And now to move the cursor or move the hover from our selected song to the next song, we have to write some more codes. So for this I'll write at first listbox dot select clear, and here I'll pass 0 to n so that the selection gets cleared. And then we have to activate the hover for our next song. So I'll write listbox dot activate, and here I'll pass the next song, and then also I'll pass the selection set again. So I'll write listbox dot select set, and here I'll pass the next song. Okay, so let's save it and run it again. Okay, we need to add the play next to our next button also. Okay, so next button here after I'll write command equals play next. Okay, so now let's save it and run it. Okay, so here is our app. So now let's try to play a song. Let's select this one, click on play. So our song is playing. Let's click on this next button. We got the next song playing, and here is the name of the next song. Let's click on next again. Alright, so our music player app's next button is working fine. Let's stop this. Okay, so now let's implement the method for play previous. So that's quite simple. I'll just copy the method of play next and I'll paste it under here, and I'll change the name from play next to play underscore prev. And here you can also change the variables names like the next song to previous song, but I won't change that. I'll just decrease the value here instead of increasing, so that will just work fine. Let's save it and add the method to our previous button. So I'll go here to the previous button, and here I'll write command equals play prev, save it and run it. Let's play this song. Okay, now let's click on this previous button. Okay, alright, so our previous button is also working fine. Stop it and close it. Okay, now only one button is left, and that is the pause and play button. So for this I'll go up here again after this play prev, and here I'll define a new method, define pause song, and inside the body we have to write the condition to check the song state. So if the song state is paused, then we'll play the song, and if it is playing already, then we'll pause the song. Okay, so now we can get the conditions by taking the text from our button. Like by default, when we will play the song, the default text of the pause button is pause. Okay, so let's try to get that in our method right here. So I'll check if the pause button, the text of the pause button is equals pause. So if the text of the pause button is pause, then we will pause our music player and we'll change the text to play. Okay, so let's write mixer.music.pause. Okay, so that will pause the song, and after pausing the song we need to also change the text of this pause button. So for this I'll write here pause button, let's get the text of the pause button equals to play. Okay, and then after this if condition I'll write else block, and in the else block we'll just try to resume the song or unpause the song, and we'll change the button's text to pause again. Okay, so let's write mixer dot music dot unpause. Okay, and then also change the pause button's text. So let pause button get the text of this equals pause. That's it. So whenever we will click on this pause button, it will check if the text of the pause button is pause. So if it is pause, then it will pause the song and will set the text of the pause button to play. And if the text of the button is play, then it will just play the song and will change the text to pause. Alright, so now let's try to attach this method to our pause button down here. So I'll go to the pause button right here, and then I'll add the command equals pause song. Okay, so let's try to save it and play or run again. Alright, so here is our music player. Let's play a song. Let's play this one. So our song is now playing. Let's click on this button to pause it. Okay, song is paused. Let's click again to play it. Okay, so the song is playing again. Okay, so that's how we can create a simple music player with Python. As you can see, all the buttons and methods of our music player is working fine. We can select a song, we can click on play button to play it. The song name will appear here. We can go to the next song, we can go to the previous song also. We can stop the song. Let's play another song. We can pause it and resume it, stop it. Okay, so that's how we can create the simple music player. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you guys enjoyed it, please subscribe to my channel because I have more awesome Python projects in my channel. And thank you so much for watching.